Okay, there we go. All right. So today, what we're going to talk about now is employees, partners. What makes a good team? What makes a company viable with respect to other people? So is your customer your partner?
Could be.
Yes. Your customer is also a partner. That is a partner. A partner gives you honest feedback. Oh, by the way, no, it's interesting. Is Yelp honest? Filter it. It's not honest. Okay. Yelp is never honest. But, not ever. It's a blend of dishonest. It's no better than any other internet thing. Everything on the internet is, half of it's a lie and the other half is an untruth. So when we're looking at trying to deal with people, trying to deal with customers, they are our partners. Also our partners are the people that work with you. So when I'm running a company as a CEO, is a janitor my partner?
Yep.
Yes. Is a receptionist my partner? Yes. Everyone in that building is part of a partnership to make that company successful. And when we have 500 people at ISR, all 500 of those people are your partner. Okay? To give a few stories of how important that is, one of my uncles, he went out and took over a manufacturing facility for Alcoa. This is many years ago, well before you were born. And as a new vice president, manufacturing of this rolling mill that made airplane wings in Davenport, Iowa, he went out there and walked around the building with a serviceman's jacket on as electrical serviceman. That he was servicing electrical panels. And he walked around with that uniform on for 2 weeks, visiting with everybody in the building. Find out what they thought of the new guy coming in, what they thought of the old guy, what was the problems in the company. He had made sure that his face was not published anywhere on any of the publications prior to that. He got to know the entire rolling mill, got to know everybody in the entire building as a service person. The union guys were much more happy to talk to an electrical serviceman than they were to a guy in a suit. They didn't want to talk to a guy in a suit. They wouldn't say anything to him, but they talked to electrical tech. So he wandered around, he got to know everybody, memorized every one of their names, knew their first name. As he's walking around, he'd say hello, hi Bob, hi Frank, whatever their name was. He tried to make sure he memorized every one of them. And then after a few weeks of this, he showed up in a suit, and they had a all-company meeting, and he introduced himself as the new plant manager. How well did that go over?
Well.
Very well.
Undercover boss.
He got to know what the problems were. He got to hear their honest opinions, and he goes, okay, here's what this is what I've been doing. I've now learned most of your names. I know who you are. You're a valuable member of my, valuable partner to me. And then he went through and started talking about, okay, as a valuable partner, this is one of the problems you guys are talking about. This is the problem you guys are talking about. This is the problem you're talking about. Here's how I'm going to fix those 3 problems. Here's what we're going to do to make this a better plan. You guys are talking about, holidays was a big one. How holidays were done. Junior people always had to work holidays. Senior people always got the day off. Said, okay, no, we're going to put this on a lottery system. First of all, we're going to let anybody volunteer. I'm going to pay triple salary on holidays. Anybody wants it, first come, first serve. And then we're going to go out and after that, I'll do it on a lottery basis. Okay, how did that make the junior people feel? Pretty dang good, right? Do you know what the funny part was? The junior people still worked the holidays because they wanted the triple pay. Really didn't change anything, but they felt empowered then. Do you see? So it's a matter of how do you make them feel empowered? How do you make them feel part of your business? How do you make them feel like their input is valuable? When employees respect the management because management is listening, the business thrives. When the employees are unhappy with management, the business dies. That is a death knell. You need to make sure that your employees, the people working with you, are satisfied with the direction you're going. Clear communication is a key to that. Communicating with your employees where we're at. At Ag Energy, there was a couple times I came in and said, all right, I don't know, I've got just enough money for the next payroll. After that, I don't. So it's volunteer if you want to take the risk with me for another 2 weeks or not. But I may have to let you go after the 2 weeks because I can't guarantee you to anything. And I said, but you are not required to work after next week, after you get your next paycheck. And I said, I'm meeting with this investor, and I should have the money in place by then. I'm a little worried, but I should have it in place. Just want you guys to be upfront and honest with you. Do you know how many employees didn't show up for work after they got their last that paycheck? Every single one of them stayed for the next 2 weeks. They got paid 2 weeks later, but I didn't. I got the money the day before. It was close, but that happened a couple times, and they were so loyal to me because I was upfront and honest with them. You can take the risk; it's not going to hurt you one way or the other. But I think we're going to make it, but I can't guarantee it. But they're all willing to take the risk. You know also why they took the risk? My executive management team didn't take a paycheck for a month and a half to make sure the employees were paid. By the way, how important is it the employees get paid? You're about to have some.
Very important.
Very, very important. What happens if you miss a paycheck?
I'm not
Oh, I
going
know
on
this one.
No, what happens if you don't pay your employees one paycheck?
Get sued.
They can go to the state. Go ahead. You guys already heard this the other day.
Yeah, I heard this the other day. If you don't pay your employees, you have to pay them 3 times as much.
Yeah. So what happens is they can go to the Washington State Employment Division, say, I didn't get my paycheck today. And then the Washington State Employment Security Division provides the lawyers. They come to your office. They do an investigation. Nope, you didn't make payment. We don't care why you didn't pay them. You are now being fined not only the paycheck, but a fine equal to 2 times the paycheck. Yeah. And it's not something you can argue.
Now,
It is.
what if it's like a day late? Same deal,
Mhm.
or okay?
They can do it for the same deal. Now, my employees were paid late a couple times a day or 2 late. I said, okay, what do you guys want me to do? Anybody absolutely have to have your check today? No, you can wait 2 days, I'm good. I checked with them first, and they were saying, yeah, no, I'm fine, go ahead and wait a couple days. So, but we were in a very tight place for a couple of years. And then we pulled out of that and had a better cash flow, okay? But when you get in that cash crunch, you have to make some big risk decisions. You include your employees in the decisions, they'll back you. You don't include them in that decision, they're gonna burn you, okay? What else do we do to make a good employee? All right, so what is important to employees? Well, what I wear. I want to express who I am. My lawyers told me I couldn't just put in the employee handbook to cover the privates. That was what the first one said. I had to be more specific. Right? Give them freedom. I said, but you will be notified the day in advance if I have guests coming in, and you will wear business professional, which is defined this way, business casual defined as this way. When you meet with a client, you will wear this. But if, you know, and I just had a series of criteria. Now, when I was working on military contracts, gentlemen, magnet was not, I was told I couldn't put this in there. I said, your face cannot stick to a magnet. Okay, I wrote some fun employee manuals. I put in no piercings, no visible tattoos, no piercings when meeting with, if a government employee comes in, government client. Why? Because they're ultra conservative. And women were only allowed 1 piercing per ear while the person was in. Once they left, I don't care. So wear long sleeves if you got tattoos, and take all the piercings out, and then but when the government employee, when the government contractor, when the military guys come in, and you're kind of going, wow, that doesn't make a difference. Yes. So sitting in negotiations with a military, with a Marine general, the CEO was sitting there, and he had purple rimmed glasses with speckles on them. He drove his Porsche 911. We paid him way too much. Anyway, but he was sitting there during the first hour, and the CEO got up and went to the bathroom, and he goes, if those glasses walk back in here, I'm walking out. And this is for a $10 million contract. Guess what? Somebody ran down to the bathroom and informed the CEO those glasses aren't welcome back in the room. He immediately went to his desk, ditched them, and got out a normal pair with just black frames. You make sure that customer's happy, okay? Personal style is for personal time. In the professional world, you have to look at your customer, right? Now, Marco, you're gonna go out and bid. What are you gonna wear when you go bid to pull wire?
Something with my logo on it.
Something with your logo on it, something that looks a little more business, what I call business casual. Not business, you're not gonna wear a suit. They're not gonna trust you if you're wearing a suit, right? That's going the wrong direction. But you're gonna wear probably a polo shirt with your logo on it, right? Look a little bit like I'm a and you're gonna have a clipboard there to take measurement and a tape measure to make measurements, right? You're gonna look business professional. We take a look at Jimmy's Roofing. They may be an expensive roofing company, but everyone works at Jimmy's Roofing, wears a Jimmy Roofing shirt at all times, and long sleeves during the summer to cover up their tattoos. If they don't have tattoos, they don't have to wear long sleeves. And they have a Jimmy Roofing white safety hat on at all times. They all look exactly the same because it's an image that he's projecting. Yeah, they may be the most expensive, but at the same time, they also have a clean workshop. In other words, when they're putting a new roof on, there's no scrap on the ground at any time. Everything goes straight into a bin. They keep it neat, they keep it clean, they keep it very professional at all times, and people appreciate that. I can tell you one gentleman wanted to have a six-pack after work, drove down at lunch, went to a local gas station or whatever, picked up a six-pack, put it inside his company truck, drove back to the work site. Foreman walked by, saw the six-pack sitting on the bench and fired him. You don't put alcohol in Jimmy's Roofing's truck. Even if you never touched it, that's not the point. The point was you had a six-pack sitting on the seat. Okay? Because that was the image he was projecting. Okay? I'm bringing this up because that is kind of an expectation in industry. When we're in front of the customer, you don't want the customer to walk up to go see their roof and see that you have six-pack sitting on there and you're climbing up on top of a 50-foot roof. The implication is that you were drinking on the job, even though he wasn't, but that's what's implied. And that's why the policy said, don't. So you're going to create an employee policy that's very, very specific of what your expectations are. You will not have alcohol in our trucks, ever. Because not because we don't want you drinking. We don't want you drinking on the job, but the thing, even if you're not drinking on it, don't carry it with you because of the implication it implies to the customer when they look in the truck. Do you see where that comes in? And this is about that image. But how do we, so you understand how the employee thing works, right? That we have to be upfront with them. We have to tell them everything. And we have to listen to them and get their feedback on the product. But what makes it, now when we talk about this stage, what makes a good partnership? What's gonna make a good partnership between the four of you? What are you gonna have to do over the next 6 months to make this work?
Communication.
Communication. But everyone can have an opinion, but one person's in charge. Business works on a totalitarian basis, not on a democracy. Business is not a democracy. Everybody doesn't get a vote. One person ultimately has to make the decision. Now, that person who's making that decision needs to get input from every single individual at this stage. And in fact, as your company gets bigger, you want input from as many as possible from all your division leaders, and your division leaders need to get input from the people below them. But ultimately, the CEO, the manager, makes the decision. And once that decision's made, all employees need to jump on board. So, Keegan, let's say you become the lead of this group, right? And you make a decision. Jason, can you bitch about the decision after it's been made? No, not after it's been made.
No, but I will make sure he knows before.
Before the decision's made, give him all the input you can. Give him the best input you can. But once the decision's made, you're stuck. You're going, right? You move forward once that decision is finalized. You clear? Mm-hmm. Okay. So it's really critical. Now, we're going to go down a single path as these companies right now. What happens if another opportunity pops up? You're going to look at it. You can do a side study of it, but you're not going to pursue it until you validate that that side business is definitely a lot better than the business we're in. You stick with the one path, and let's say, oh, that other one will be equally as good. I'm going to shelve it for right now. So you're working on a product, you're getting that windshield cleaner stuff up there, right? And you come up with this idea, okay, well, we can do this other product that's going to clean a biodegradable, pet safe tire cleaner, clean off brake residue, right? That's what you want to pursue. Put that on the shelf. Pursue it once you get the first one up and making money. You don't have the bandwidth to do 2 products at once. So you focus down just to a single product, we move down that one product, then we diversify into multiple products. You're gonna go after the targets first. Once you get that target done. Meanwhile, you're looking at these other products to see what's gonna be, you know, how we can do them, but you're not gonna put a lot of effort into that. How much time in a week, what percent of your time should be spent on product number 2 initially?
0.
5 to 10%. Okay? As product number 1 starts getting into production, 50%. Once product number 2 is product 1 is profitable, you're about 50%. You're about 80%, on product number 2. 20% is keeping product 1 going. You never abandon product 1. You got to keep that thing going. Does that make sense? But once you got 2 products, what happens to your team?
Gross.
It grows. You got to bring more people in. Because if product 1 was taking 80% of your time, you can't manage it at 20% of your time. So you need somebody else to jump in there. But what I'm talking about is the overall team's time. Okay? So the other elements, so let's take that everybody needs to get their input on each of the designs, about each of the decisions. Do you have a business partner?
Not right now.
Yes, you do. She's at home.
Okay.
You can't separate family from your business. Now, your family can't be telling you how to do the business, but they need to be aware of what you're doing in the business and be supportive of your business. I'm not asking you to give you any input about how to do this, but you need to be communicating with them about, I need to do this, 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 this over the next few months. These are the time frames I need to do them in. Please don't schedule us on a vacation while I'm doing this delivery. I'm giving a pitch for money on this date. Don't schedule us to go to Seattle that day, right? You need to make sure that you are communicating with your personal partners in life, your friends in life, about what commitments you're making to the business, knowing that you're going to, what did I tell you last year to do about homework in her?
Set a schedule block, and that's what she gets.
But in that schedule, you're going to give a block of time to her, to your wife, that she knows that's my time with you, and you can't interrupt that time. You will commit to it, and you have, mostly, right?
Mostly, yeah.
Mostly. Okay, you violated it a few times. Stop doing that. All right. So when we're looking at that family business relationship, as you have a significant other in your life, Jason, right? You need to block out saying, this is my time for the businesses, but this is my time for you. What that does to your personal relationships is it makes them stronger, because they know that you will dedicate as much time, be as dedicated to them as you are to the business. You're not saying the business is more important to them. You're just saying that you get this hour, the business gets this hour. And you define it. Do they benefit from your successful business now?
Absolutely.
Yes, they will benefit from your business being successful. So they are committing to the business success by giving you blocks of time to work on the business, but exchange, you are giving blocks of time to them. So if we take a look at blocking out that time, saying this is the time I'll be home every day, unless I notify you a day in advance, or tell you the day, hey, this blew up, I gotta stay for a while. But try to be home at the same time every day. Try to leave at the same time every day. Try to make sure that they are included in that decision making. Because when you do so, it makes for a happy, successful relationship. Why is that partnership with your partner so important? Because historically, they say that you're 75% more likely to be a successful entrepreneurial program if you have a stable home life. Stable home lives, stable relationships lead to emotional release at home, emotional support at home, and those are things that lead to a stronger business and a stronger mindset. Okay, so when we look at it, if you're stressed from work and you have nobody to vent to, what do you do?
Drink.
Yeah. Yeah, you drink. Okay? You find the bottom of a bottle, you know. What's that Western song I heard the other day? Drink because I'm lonely and I'm lonely because I'm drink. Well, that's what happens, right? But it's not just that. It's also you eat that stress. And that stress starts chewing your insides out. Your blood pressure goes up, your gut starts getting chewed up, you start getting ulcers. All that's a sign of working too damn hard, right? But going home and venting with a partner doesn't have to be a relationship. It could just be a good friend of yours that you can call every night and just bitch, right? And just get it out. That helps lower your stress. You have to have some way to decrease your stress. So we all have to find our stress relief. We have to find a way to decrease your stress, and family, having or a good friend that you can call and vent to is critical to that health balance of work life, okay? So startups are harder than a bigger business, and that stress release is more critical. So we need to find that balance and find that release. Okay, so when we're looking at what else makes a good team, anyone else got an idea? Trust. If you don't trust your partners, you don't have anything. You have to trust. So what does that mean? That means you can't lie to your partners. You start lying to your partners, you start withholding information to your partners, they will never trust you again. Once you have trust right now, you screw up once, you will never have it again. Okay? It's hard, it's easy to lose, hard to rebuild. So that also applies to your business, to your board members. That goes as well to your investors. That goes as well to your banker. That goes as well to your customers. And in the ethics class, we talk at great length about communication with our customers and why that's critical, okay? So in this class, I'll just say that if you screw up, what are you gonna do? Marco, you mentioned it just before this lecture.
Just own up to it.
Own up to it. You can't fix it if you don't own up to it. You can't get to the other side until you own up that I screwed up. I screwed up, I didn't give you a proper quote. I didn't get the quote right. I lied to you on the quote. Own it. Own your screw up, own your lie, own whatever you did that was wrong. Promise them you're never gonna do it again, but make it right. Make it right to that customer. Make it right to that employee. Make it right to that partner, okay? Those are the things that we need to do in our relationships of our partnerships. Our relation in this lecture just now was on how do we go, what do we call it here? What makes a good team? Your team is whom? How do we define team? Conrad?
The people we work with.
People you work with. Michael?
Trust.
Who's the team?
Oh, team.
Who else is the team? The people you're working with and
Who you're in contact with?
Customers.
customers,
Employees.
employees,
Board.
board,
Anyone working towards like a common goal?
everyone working towards a common goal. So that includes vendors. So the vendors are your customer, are a part of your partnership. Your customers are part of your partnership. Your employees are part of your partnership. Your founders are part of your partnership. Your board of directors is part of your partnership. Your investors are part of your partnership. All of them are your team. Team is everybody. And as Michael phrased it better, everybody is working towards that common goal. All of them. Okay? So you have to maintain those relationships with all of them. Okay. Lastly, Marco brought something up that I missed, and that was our vendors. If you are a subcontractor doing housing construction in Spokane, and you need a whole bunch of 2x4s, where are you gonna go get them?
Not Home Depot. No.
Well, a lot of times you go to Lowe's and Home Depot for, if you're doing a small project, doing a bedroom, okay? What's the problem with that?
Your bedroom's gonna be in italics.
Well, I realize they're not straight, okay? We won't get into the lack of straightness there.
Just look
But
at
the
'em.
point is they run out continuously. So a lot of the contractors, that you can go to Ziggy's, you can go to Do It Best, but the thing is, if you're looking for a pile of them, they may have already committed everything they have to somebody else. Developing a relationship with that supplier is critical. That you've got a good relationship. You go back to the same store continuously, always going back, get your 2x4s and your nails the same place. Then you establish a relationship with a supplier. That supplier will always make sure that you have the product that you need. But if you bounce around from one Lowe's to the other Home Depot, and always trying to find the best deal, none of them will commit to making sure that you get a product. Yes.
So being basically savvy with your communication, so you're saying.
Yeah.
I'll pay you this much to do this, and you say, what if we do something a certain way and cut the difference? You know,
Yeah.
just have-
Yeah. That is absolutely true, Michael. The other thing is knowing that they got repeat business. If I know that you're going to be a repeat customer over and over and over, I'm going to bend over backwards to make sure that you get product every time you need it.
Yeah.
But if I know you're a fly-by-night, going to come here, then you're going to go somewhere else and somewhere else the next time, and I can't count on you always coming to my store, I'm not going to bend over backwards to make sure that you get the product you need. Okay, but if I'm coming back to the same do it best or going back to Ziggy's every single time to get my 2x4s, and I'm building houses, and I call them up a week before saying, hey, I'm going to need a pile of 2x4s next week, can you make sure they're there? They'll do that for a repeat customer, okay? But they may not do it for anyone else. And I'm bringing this up because during COVID, it was such a major, major problem. Everybody was out of lumber. But the big contractors who always went to the same store, they always had 2x4s. They always had the supplies they needed. But those who were new to the business disappeared. The new contractors disappeared because they had not developed that rapport, then developed that reputation. Forgot to include that as part of our list of team members.